I know I've been talking about it a lot as of late, but I've been watching a lot of Korean dramas lately. And it's probably no surprise that Samsung has product placement all over those shows, especially in the form of their foldable smartphones. I don't think I've seen anyone in the last two shows that I've watched that's using anything other than a Z Fold or a Z Flip. There was one scene in Our Beloved Summer that caught my eye though, as the character was sneakily taking photos of a rival restaurant's food using the Galaxy Z Flip 3. The thing is, she was shooting in flex mode but also handheld. It seemed a little odd to me, although I asked a friend about it and she said, well, I do that all the time. It would seem that the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip in particular has captured a large portion of everyday users even here in the US, with many of my friends opting for it because of its compact size, its unique and ultimately useful form factor. And with the latest edition, Samsung is doing what they can to flex their Z Flip even more, with some capabilities and further refinements. Is this the smart flip phone fully realized? Let's talk about that. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Here are some thoughts after a week with the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Let's start things off with a little bit of gratitude once again. Thanks for coming to hang out with me today, and to keep up with everything I'm doing on Samsung's foldables and beyond in the world of tech, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell. Also, I couldn't be more thankful that many of you came to my Galaxy Z Fold 4 Week 1 video and made that one a success. Thank you all again, and now let's talk about the Flip. Just like with the Z Fold, there isn't too much that's different with the Z Flip this year when you compare it to last year's edition. As a matter of fact, I struggle to decide whether or not people I know who have the Flip 3 already really need to upgrade to this Flip 4. By now, when this video is coming out, the pre-order trade-in deals are over. Those were some pretty compelling deals through which you could actually trade in your previous Flip for the current Flip and maybe pay close to nothing. Now, I still have links in the description and in a pinned comment below to trade-in deals after the official launch of this phone, and they are still pretty good, so make sure you check those out and see if there are any opportunities to make this, the $999 Galaxy Z Flip 4, a little bit easier to purchase. When opened up, the Galaxy Z Flip 4 is like any other of the flagship smartphones from Samsung, only it's a little taller and a little bit narrower. My only gripes with the handling experience are that the phone, despite the matted exterior, still kinda slips about in my hands. Side-to-side reach isn't bad, it's just trying to get to the top of the display that made me almost drop this phone a few times. And speaking of reach, the power button and the volume rocker are also quite high on the phone when it's opened up. Now, I do get that this is deliberate based upon the positions when the phone is closed, but I'm using this thing mostly when it's open, so it is a little bit of a hassle. As one of the only smartphones, especially in the US, that actually minimizes to this compact size, the Flip is still immediately eye-catching. The materials are slightly more improved now, with shinier but sturdier frames and strong hinges that should not weaken much at all over the course of time. There's still a tiny gap in both of the foldables that might be a little precarious in dusty or let's say sandy locales, but otherwise they are all still fully water resistant via an IPX8 rating. And if the Galaxy Z Flip 3 is any indication, I shouldn't have any problems opening the phone the way that I do beyond this first week, with a strong lift of my thumb even though my nail is clearly doing all of the work. That little gap also gives way to a crease in the display, which you can of course still see, but unless you're the biggest stickler for stuff like that, you tend to look past it during daily use. The main display is still Samsung's forte, as this is an AMOLED screen with great color rendering, deep black levels, and a high refresh rate that mostly comes in handy for things like gaming. And on the performance front, the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 makes this phone move swimmingly throughout its UI and in and out of applications. Given the easy time I had multitasking and doing a ton of stuff on the Galaxy Z Fold 4, a slightly more conventional form factor and the use cases therein should be nothing for this chipset. So I've had literally no complaints with the Flip as a daily smartphone. Scrolling through social media and popping in and out of other applications is a breeze. Jumping into the camera app and doing a lot of shooting might have made the phone a little bit warm at times, but it wasn't uncomfortable, nor has it impeded anything. Warmth can also happen when playing games, but on that front, I've not had any issues playing Apex Legends Mobile or Octopath Traveler. Oh, and voice and video calls have all gone on without a hitch, sounding just fine from the speaker up top, although I will admit I'm not the kind of person to do that whole banana phone thing, even though it is possible with this form factor. The only thing I might dock a point off, though, is for the speakers. You have one firing up here and one down here on the bottom. They're fine, but they don't resonate in the lower ends, as well as the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and some other high-end smartphones. And finally, battery life does seem to be somewhat improved compared to last year's phone, mainly due to a higher capacity battery, but after just 1 week of using it and constantly plugging into Android Auto, I will admit it's a little hard for me to give a hard thought on just the battery life right now. Of course, the main story of the Galaxy Z Flip is how to take advantage of this hinge. Flexing all over the place is easy because of this phone's form factor. The bottom half of the phone serves as a stand of sorts, and you can either consume or create content accordingly. And most of that versatility is due to this covered display, but I use the word versatility a bit sparingly. You see, Flex Mode is a convenient feature that is only held back by the amount of overall display real estate that the Flip provides. Aside from like split window multitasking, you can also open up compatible media applications and flex the hinge to create a comfortable viewing angle. My only quibble here is that you can just open up the phone fully and then use like a kickstand or something like that, lean it up towards something, and you have twice as much room to view that content. As I said, the convenience of Flex Mode is really only hindered by virtue of its form factor. Samsung did try to mix things up a little bit this time with a Labs feature that makes the bottom portion a sort of control pad, complete with the touchpad interface. While this is novel, it again means that the business portion of your workspace is smaller on the top half. And because this mode isn't particularly friendly to one-handed use, due in part to two-finger scrolling being a thing that is required here, well, it's clear to me that this and other Flex Mode features are best used when on a table. And thus the idea of using the phone handheld when it's in this L shape still doesn't quite make sense. Well, at least for me.
Oh, my hair.
When in San Diego, go hang out with friends. One thing I gotta give this phone major props for is just a very tiny addition that makes a lot of difference. I'm looking at the the cover screen right now, filming in the wide angle, of course, the ultra wide angle. But if I double tap on here, it gives me a look. It's a very small preview, but it gives me a look at what the frame looks like, so I can frame up very easily. This is awesome. Oh, sorry. By the way, this is not alcohol. These are adaptogen shots. We are bougie as hell up in San Diego right now.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Here we go. Not even bad, actually.
We should have mixed it.
Why are you just sipping it? It's called a shot.
So yes, this covered display is the key to doing what we always wish we could do with conventional smartphones. Use the rear cameras as our front cameras. While this is certainly possible no matter what phone you're using, having this viewfinder here just makes life that much easier and makes the Galaxy Z Flip 4 one of the best phones for content creation and social media capture. You can do things a couple of different ways. When it's closed, you can just double press the power button and then swipe around or tap on the display to change up the camera modes. You can also turn on the camera normally, so let's do that real quick. And then when you're using the rear cameras, this little button up here shows up that allows you to preview on the cover display. There's really no expressing just in words how useful it is to have a phone that can do stuff like this in key social moments. Maybe you're with your friends and you want to take a group selfie. Well, you put the phone down and you go into this mode, line things up, and then wave at the phone to do an automatic trigger. Maybe you're a TikTok person and front-facing cameras just don't do it for you, let's say quality-wise. Flex the phone, do the new double tap to actually see the entire frame. This is a new feature that is actually really useful, and then you can just shoot away. Of course, this cover preview is not natively available in the TikTok app, but then you can always just come back to the front-facing camera, angle that appropriately, and you'll have access to all of your filters and everything else within the app. And unlike the Galaxy Z Fold 4, using all of those tripod or phone mounts that you might have, they still apply because the opened phone is actually more compatible with them given this mostly conventional shape and size. My only real problem with the cover display is that the rest of the experience hasn't really changed a whole lot. Sure, you can customize it with pictures and GIFs and whatnot, and then you have access to all of the same specific widgets, like a timer and maybe a quick look at your calendar, but it would be nice if this could open up to more widgets, more pieces of information, and more capabilities. Sure, this might not be the most comfortable place to fiddle with certain Android widgets, but even just something small like seeing my glucose levels from the Dexcom G6 app would have been nice to put on the cover display so I don't have to open up the phone all the time. The fact that my smartwatch can do that and more means that this cover display at best is like a smartwatch on the back of a smartphone, which is to say it's not bad, it's just not amazing in certain places either. Ultimately, I can see why the Galaxy Z Flip has become basically mainstream by now. Not only is it the phone that fits in way more scenarios than the Fold, it's also easy to recommend for people who maybe want to go beyond the typical use cases, or maybe want to dive into their creativity. As I mentioned in my Galaxy Z Fold 4 video, I'm the one that changed, and now I actually like having bigger screens at the ready, and the shooting experience of the Fold, while less versatile than the Flip, is still more than enough for what I would shoot at any given time. Not to mention the Fold actually got a camera hardware upgrade with the 50 megapixel sensor. Now, the Flip got upgraded sensors as well, but I wish it could get a little bit more love, especially if Samsung wants to keep marketing this phone to the creative lifestyle crowd. The Galaxy Z Flip 4 is just easy. Easy in the sense that it can fit practically anywhere for practically anyone, and its capabilities actually don't leave too much to be desired when compared to similarly priced conventional smartphones. And Samsung knows that their foldables are cool, even if we're in the second generation of the same design by now. Why else would they put them in the hands of every character in every K-drama? So yeah, I might gravitate to the Fold personally this time around, but for most of you out there, I would definitely recommend the Galaxy Z Flip 4. If you haven't been convinced by the last generation already, Samsung is bringing it back again with a few extra incentives baked in. And I think, moving forward, we might see more people flexing it. A quick reminder that if this video convinced you to get a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip or Z Fold 4, I do have links to them in the description and in a pinned comment below. For more on the latest foldables from Samsung, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Sound off by hitting the like button and by getting into the comment sections down below. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.